Hey guys, welcome to. Oh my gosh, I'm on slide 7. That was a fail. All right, welcome to Tall Tales. Introduction to Tall Tales. We're going to talk about Tall Tales and reading this week, and we are going to work on writing our own Tall Tales in writing class. Yay! So sit back, grab your peacorn, relax, and enjoy this adventure I'm about to take you on in my slideshow. What's a tall tale? A tall tale is a type of folk tale. So remember, we talked about how folk tales, there's lots of different kinds of folk tales, right? A folk tale is a story that has been told over a long period of time, passed down through generations. Started as like an oral tradition, and then someone wrote them down. There's probably multiple versions of tall tales, just like there's multiple versions of fairy tales and other types of folk tales, right? So some people wrote them down a little bit differently than each other, and some people changed them a little bit to make them a little bit silly, right? So that happens in all types of folk tales. Oops. A tall tale will feature some larger than life hero. So we've got larger than life. What does that idiom mean? It means someone that who has these abilities that are superhuman. They do these things. They have these actions that are not realistic. Like no one could actually do these things, but this person does, and that is what makes them larger than life. It doesn't necessarily mean they're like really big, even though in a lot of tall tales the hero is actually a really big person. It means more like they're amazing. They've got these talents, right? And keep in mind, it's a hero, right? This person that has these abilities, they are doing things to help other people. So when you read tall tales, think about how is this person helping others. And then finally, a tall tale includes something called hyperbole. I love that word. Hyper. And then it says B-O-L-E, but the way we pronounce that is bole. So most E's on the end of words we do not pronounce. Usually that E would make the O sound, right? Not in this word. This word, you say it, hyperbole. Fun. Yeah, I think hyperbole is a good word. A hyperbole is an exaggeration for emphasis and humor. So tall tales are supposed to be kind of funny. I don't know if you remember Apples to Oregon. That story was kind of silly and kind of funny, right? Because these crazy things happen. So those larger than life, those non-realistic things that happen in tall tales, a lot of them are just like hyperbole. So like maybe someone was strong, but like not that strong, right? And it makes it kind of funny and kind of silly. So some of the things that we're going to think about as we read through Tall Tales this week are going to be cause and effect is the first. So cause and effect is super important to stories. So as a reader, but also as a writer. So I want you to think about this through a writer's lens too. Because when you're writing, you should have cause and effect happening throughout your story. Like one event should influence future events, right? That's what a good writer would try to do. So in a cause and effect relationship, one event will cause the other event to happen. The cause is why something happened, and the effect is what happens. So some examples, I do not brush my teeth every day, therefore I have 5 cavities. So the cause is me not brushing my teeth, and the effect is I have 5 cavities, right? I have 5 cavities because I did not brush my teeth. Another example is the day was warm, so the snake slithered out from under his rock. Like Waldo, right? The cause, the day was warm. The effect, the snake slithered out from under his rock. So Waldo came out from under his rock because the day was warm. Something else we're going to look for this week as we read and we're going to think about as we write are homographs. Homographs are words that are spelled the same, but they're not always pronounced the same and they have different meanings. So homographs are spelled the exact same way. Sometimes we call those multiple meaning words. So if I were to look up these words in a dictionary, they would have a long list of different types of definitions. Some definitions would be nouns, some would be verbs. There might be more than one verb definition, things like that. So when I think about homographs as they're used in stories, I need to think about context. Like when I see the word fly, what comes to mind is the insect fly and like the action, the verb of flying, like a bird can fly, right? When I read the sentence that contains that word, I have to think about which one makes more sense. There's a fly in my soup. Well, I think that means the insect, right? My soup is not flying. Another one is tear and tear. That's an example of one that is spelled the exact same way, but they're read differently, right? Tear is crying. You have tears, right? Tear is when you rip something. So again, when I'm reading something and I'm thinking about context, it kind of also tells me how to pronounce these words, right? And finally, my last example is a word that we would pronounce the exact same way. We've got watch and watch. We've got the noun watch, thing I wear on my wrist to tell time, and watch like I'm watching TV. So again, I think about context to determine what the meaning of the word is in that particular sentence. So what we're going to do today is we're going to read My Big Brother Johnny Caw. And while reading, I'm going to ask you to do a couple things. We're going to look for evidence that supports categorizing this story as a tall tale. So what makes a story a folk tale that has a larger-than-life hero and exaggeration, right? We're also going to look for examples of cause and effect. And we're going to look for homographs. And I apologize if I call those homophones sometimes. Because sometimes I slip and I call them the other thing. But I really do mean homographs. Okay? Because homographs are spelled the exact same way. And that's what we're looking for, okay? So we're going to go ahead and you can turn off this video and you're going to go to your reading assignment HyperDoc and click on the next video, which is My Big Brother Johnny Caw. All right, so you guys, you won't miss me because you're about to hear my voice again as I read you this story. Peace.